Hello, and welcome to the short video where I talk about issue-based consulting. Now, this might be the first time you've come across the concept of issue-based consulting, so let me talk a little bit about how it differs from other types of consulting that you may be more familiar with. Primarily, the other type of consulting is solution-based consulting, and that is typically when either a customer or a client or sometimes an internal customer comes to you and says, I've got this challenge that I'd like to solve, and this is what I'd like to do. I would like to optimize some of my business processes, for example, or automate them. So I would like to install and configure CRM, or I would like to roll out one of the various flavors of ERP, or I may want to build a set of financial reporting and analytics dashboards, for example. And that is solution-based consulting. So you and the customer collectively already know what the issue is, you know what the solution is, and you need to invest some time and effort, obviously, fleshing out what that solution in its implementation looks like. Now, issue-based consulting, on the other hand, is often where the problem is unknown. There might be certain symptoms that your organization or your client is experiencing, and those may be things like we're not making as much money as we thought we are, but you don't know why. And it could be simply because, one, you're not selling enough stuff, but it could be because the pricing model on your stuff that you're selling, be it goods or services, is not optimized, or it could be that your expenses are too high, or it could be any number of reasons, but you don't really know. All you know is you've got a problem or an issue, and you don't know how you're going to get to the bottom of that. And that is where issue-based consulting comes in. And it's really a structured problem-solving approach that lets you tackle complex challenges in a methodical way. And it operates on the principle of breaking down problems into smaller manageable issues, each of which can then be addressed individually, hence issue-based consulting. Now, there are a few key components that I'll cover off, or principles, when it comes to issue-based consulting. And these are that issue-based consulting is hypothesis-driven. So exactly as I did in that example, I laid out a few hypotheses in terms of why the organization is not profitable. It was a very simple example, of course. Other times it can get much more complex, but it's around coming up with several hypotheses for the issues you're experiencing, and then following an approach to try and test whether those hypotheses are true or not. So the second principle then is that it's fact-based. So you really need to rely on data and evidence to validate each of the hypotheses. So again, I laid out some examples around our sales might be too low, our costs might be too high. We need to gather the data and the facts to try and test those hypotheses to validate whether they are true or not. There's a level of prioritization involved. So you need to be able to draw out the most critical issue and focus on that first, because there could be a vast landscape of challenges that you face. The issue-based consulting approach needs to be participative. And by this, I mean you need to involve your clients if you're working with a client organization. If you're working internally, you need to involve your stakeholders. And this involvement needs to be throughout the process. So all the way from inception to completion of the engagement or the issues that you're trying to address. Another key principle is that issue-based consulting is iterative, and you need to adapt your approach and solutions based on the insights that you deliver or gain from the data as you work through these hypotheses. Data changes over time, and this means your insights change, and this means you do need to iterate. So very seldom will it be a single pass through the process where you do your hypothesis-driven bit first, you gather the facts, you prioritize them, and you're done. It needs to be iterative more times than it isn't. And ultimately, whatever you do needs to be end product focused or outcome focused. So you need to ensure that all the efforts that you're expending are going to lead to actionable and implementable recommendations and solutions. So if you don't come up with that level of detail, the organization or your client is going to be no further along than they were when they started talking to you. And taking this approach then ensures that not only problems are solved, but that you can find the solutions that are practical and aligned with the client's or organizational goals. Now, the methodology is described out a little bit more in this module, There are some diagrams and a lot of text to help you understand and implement issue-based consulting. So good luck with that, and please go through the detail and get back and comment if you have any questions.